Soaring commodity expenses raise BHP to pleasant profit in 11 years. Developing arsenal for M&A. BHP Group Limited suggested bumper profits on surging commodity expenses on Tuesday, sending stocks sharply higher, as the global miner did not rule out a second method in its spurned $6 billion bid for Oz Minerals. Shares in the international's largest miner with the aid of market value shot 5% better as traders cheered a better-than-expected annual income bounce of 26% to $21.3 billion, its maximum given that 2011 and the announcement of a report dividend. Flushed with price range and more nimble after unifying its London and Sydney public holdings, BHP is lower back searching out acquisitions and on August 8 offered to buy copper and nickel miner Oz Minerals in a $8.34 billion Australian dollars $5.8 billion deal, its 2D takeover bid in a year. The provide become declined. We have plenty of levers for increase and M&A is just one of those levers. We are able to continue to be disciplined, stated BHP Chief Executive Officer Mike Henry, talking in the course of an earnings briefing. Henry did not comment on whether or not BHP might go back to Oz Minerals with a revised offer. Shares in Oz Minerals had been up 1.2% at 0230 GMT, while the Sydney benchmark become up 0.5%. It's best to have but not a must-have, Henry stated, referring Oz Minerals. It's pretty disappointing that the board of Oz Minerals chose not to have interaction, Henry advised journalists at a media briefing after pronouncing his agency's annual effects. The jump in underlying benefit from continuing operations beat a consensus estimate of $20.89 billion compiled with the aid of Vuma Financial. The bid for Oz Minerals, alongside the merger of its petroleum enterprise in June, shows BHP has a number of extra coins go with the flow and is looking to extend, mentioned Azim Sharif, a market analyst at CMC Markets. The copper and electricity area is without a doubt effective for the company, and that's been flowing through in step-forward steerage as properly, Sharif said. BHP retained $4 billion of coins despite completing with internet debt of $300 million, indicating to us that the balance sheet remains prepped for similarly M&A, RBC analysts mentioned in a word. FUTUREFACING, growth for the economic year ended June 30. Shareholders gets a final dividend of $1.75 in keeping with share, marking a peak annual distribution of $3.25 per share, at a time whilst different miners have reduced investor returns to take care of declining earnings. The miner said it's going to assess options to make bigger manufacturing at its Pinnacle iron ore generating unit to 330 million tons a 12 months, and maintain to discover growth option in future-facing commodities like copper and nickel. The miner's overall performance at its Western Australian iron ore operations also helped offset a drop in expenditures of the steelmaking commodity from last 12 months' document degrees, as China's push to scale back emissions and easing creation activity in the U.S.'s debt-laden property quarter curtailed demand. We anticipate China to end up a supply of balance for commodity call for inside the 12 months ahead, with policy aid steadily taking preserve, Henry said. BHP also warned of a slowdown in advanced economies as economic policy tightens, and mentioned it expects labor constraints to hold to put strain on international and local supply chains. Rival miner Rio Tinto (NYSE), Rio, stated a 29% drop in first-half earnings and extra than halved its dividend in July, bringing up softening demand from China and supply chain snags.